This is our first episode. This is something I've been wanting to do for so long, is just shine a spotlight on the amazing investors out there and their stories, and learn a little bit from one another along the way. Most of you in this group should know who I am, but my name is Natasha Phipps, and I am the team leader of Phipps Real Estate Group, an investment focused group of realtors here in Calgary, Alberta. I invest in real estate myself as well, and I'm joined here today by my very first guest, the incredible good friend of mine, Shelley Visser, also located in Calgary. And we're going to talk today about her story, a little bit about her background and journey, and then we're going to talk about private lending as well. It's something I get asked about a lot, and I just thought we could answer some kind of basic questions for people today and give them that little bit of information to see if this might be something they want to consider for themselves or not. So thank you for being here, Shelley.
Thank you, Natasha. I feel honored to be your very first one. We coordinated our sweaters.
We did. This was not planned that we would be wearing matching outfits. It's just, we were on the same wavelength. So awesome. So let's just start with, telling us a little bit about yourself. A lot of people in this community know who you are, but you are someone that is just magnetic in your personality, and you're always willing to share and give, and I love that about you. But tell us about you, a little bit how you got into this space, and a little bit about your journey along the way.
Awesome, thank you. Well, that's lovely compliments.
Yeah.
Thank you. My name is Shelley Visser. I have been a real estate investor. I never remember. I always go, oh, it's been 15 years. And then I'm suddenly going, I've been saying 15 years for a long time. Probably a lot longer than that. But I originally started years ago with my taste for real estate by managing apartment buildings. So back in Nova Scotia, and it was a way to create income. I was, a new mom, with my partner at the time, and I was putting him through school, and it was a way to, make some income plus work a job. And I got that taste for real estate at that point. Mm-hmm. Plus, you always heard the sayings, everyone makes their wealth in real estate.
For sure.
So kind of where I got that taste for it. And actually, if I look even further back, in high school, I took career courses for interior design.
Wow.
So, yeah, actually, I just realized that too now. It's like, yeah. So I think it's always just kind of been meant to be for me. So, my dad was an entrepreneur, so always had that entrepreneur bend anyways. And life goes on. You start to go, where do I want to be? How am I going to provide for my future? Mm-hmm. And real estate just seemed to be a way to start.
Yeah. And what brought you to Calgary?
At the time it was my ex, it was his work. So we moved around quite a bit for him, and the job opportunities came here. So we landed here 1997.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So 23 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's been long.
Yeah. So you've been here a while, and you've seen the ups and downs through our market, and the changes and shifts and everything that goes along with it. What type of investment strategies do you start with, and what different ones have you explored over the years as our market has pivoted so much? We've all kind of had to change that over the years.
Absolutely. I think we have to pivot for sure when you have to adapt to the different, rises and lows for sure. Yeah. But I think too, as real estate investors, as we become experienced in one style, you tend to then veer off to do another style and then something else. And pivots might be the time that direct you there, but sometimes it's just, you feel that you've gotten all the knowledge, or you feel comfortable with the new strategy. But for myself, I actually started with building my own house. So, And it was back in the day when sweat equity was allowed. So we designed the house, we did a lot of the work to build the house. And so that allowed us to get into our first property.
Wow.
So that's how I started. And then it went into, I just did renovations and flips, just because I was trying to increase that equity, get that income, flip it into the next property, flip it into the next one. So I got very good at renovation work, and very quick at it. Mm-hmm. But I stuck with one housing style, I guess. Like, it was always, generally speaking, single family homes or side-by-side duplexes. And it was always in the starter home market, because my feeling on that was if somebody was downsizing, they could still get a nice house, or somebody moving up could get a nice house. So I was kind of opening my options to who my end buyer was. It was also an affordable market. So yeah, so I started with flips, and then I went into buy and holds. Yeah, done. I think that's what I've looked at the multifamily market. We've put in some offers. It just hasn't quite worked.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't know that I want that anymore.
Mhm.
And now I've gone into the private money loaning and private mortgages, private loans, and as well investors. And now I've also just picked up 3 Airbnb. So I'm going into the short-term rental market now as well. Yeah, so it's a journey, right? And not everyone wants that journey. Maybe you want one style, and that's okay. It's just knowing what you want, what you need, and where are you going.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that can change over years. I
Mhm.
feel like sometimes too, your comment about multifamily, like it's okay that you're kind of focus shift. Like not everyone has to get into multifamily, not everyone has to get into each of these avenues. Sometimes I feel in these groups, there's a bit of a pressure that, well, if okay, I've done 5 single family houses, now I have to move up to something else. Like it has to feel authentic and good for you as to what you're interested in. So I think that's just, even that is really good advice. So the Airbnbs, I'm really interested to hear more of that. That's a totally different topic, and maybe we'll save that for another day. But I've been looking at this as well, so I'm very curious to see how that goes for you. And I'm sure you're going to do awesome at it. But yeah, there's lots of opportunity out there. Is the main point. There's lots of different ways you can get involved in real estate, and we're going to talk today about private lending and how that has served you in your journey. But let's take it like super basic. Basic definition. What would you describe if someone says, well, what is private lending? What does that mean?
Oh, I'm not technical. So for me, it's the opportunity for 2 people to help each other out financially.
Right.
In a low risk way. Now, I mean, there's obviously higher risk, but everything I do is as low risk as I can make it.
Okay.
There's always risk no matter what, but I just see it as a partnership between 2 people with a financial reward for both partners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great definition. We do have to give our little disclaimer here that we are not advisors in any way. We are not giving you financial advice here today. We're just talking about Shelley's experience and some really basic information for those that might be interested. But okay, so I think that's a really good way to describe it. What would you say is, like, how do you analyze a deal and how do you get into a deal? Are these people approaching you? Are they local? Are they from anywhere in the country? What types of deals would you outline for yourself as something that you'd be interested in?
So there's 2 avenues. I'm looking for money for my deals, and I also have money that I'm looking for deals to
Right.
put money.
Yes.
So yes, and the deals can be anywhere. And it's funny. My journey has started with, stay in your home base. Invest in your home, know your backyard, all of that. And I realized over time, like I did that, but then I realized I missed a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
And then I was a lot of pain and suffering because my backyard wasn't really economically great.
Yes.
I didn't want to look beyond somebody else's. And now I've learned, wait a minute, it's okay. You just have to be prepared for the work for it. And so now I'm really following more of the mantra of go where the money is going.
Yeah.
So if the deal is not here, where is the deal? Who can I set up for my team there? Who are my resources? Where can I go? So sometimes my money, the deals that I have my money into are in other provinces, right? Which they are now. And I also have people who invest with me that are in my own province as well. And we'll sometimes do deals here. And again, it all depends on what that deal is. What return are they looking for? So if somebody approaches me and says, I guess it's twofold. Is somebody having money and they want to invest with me to help them make some more money because I have an opportunity for them. And then it's word of mouth. A lot of it's word of mouth. Sometimes it's advertised, but I don't do that so much because you have to really watch securities.
To be careful with advertising. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I don't want to get into trouble. My whole idea is that I'm following the rules. I'm helping people. They're helping me. It's a win for everyone.
Absolutely. Yeah, very good. So you talked a little bit about risks. What are the risks that you would need to be aware of if you're going to go into a type of deal like this?
Sure. Well, I think the number one risk, like everyone knows, is you lose all your money.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
let's, and I always say, absolutely, you could lose all your money.
Yeah.
However, for me, how I run it is I don't get paid until you get paid. So I don't like working for free.
Yeah.
Not everybody has that philosophy with money loans. Some of the philosophies I've heard out there is, well, the risk, you could lose it. That's part of doing business.
Mm-hmm.
That's not one I'm comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
I don't sleep well that way.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, understandably.
Right. And I understand the feeling of losing a lot of money because I'd had investments out for a significant change and our money was lost. And it's a devastating feeling. And so because I have that intimate knowledge, I never want somebody else to feel that as well, to know that their child's university costs are gone, or their retirement. And
Right.
so how can I make this as low risk? So the first risk is definitely you could lose all your money. So what is the solution to that?
Mhm.
So we can talk about, here's why the option for you to lose your money is slim.
Yeah.
So then the next one is, what if we can't pay you back the money in the time that we have?
Mm-hmm.
And that can happen.
So
And I actually had that happen in the spring with COVID. I
Right.
always paid back my money, always,
Mhm.
always. And then COVID hit, which none of us could predict.
No, that's right.
So but what I did was I was proactive well before the time. So a couple of the loans were due back in June. So more in May, I think it was. Yeah, because we were really closing down in March, April, May, and it was like, oh, things are going on. So I actually just contacted them and said, here's the story.
Yeah.
We are not going to be able to close this out on time. So you have some options. Stay in. Your money is still safe and secure.
Yeah.
And you'll make more interest.
Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly.
that's an option. So there's no risk that way. It's just we'll have to do up an amendment.
Exactly.
The second one is, if you need your money back, not a problem. Let me know. I'm going to go find someone that can replace your money.
Yeah.
So it was just that open communication, that upfront communication, tell people what's going on. Well, everyone was like, oh yeah, no problem. They were all like, oh, I'm making more money. I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh, I'm fine.
Okay.
Stay in. I'm like, okay, great. That was a lot easier, but it was good for them.
It is because you handled it head on, right? You went with solutions. You knew that there was going to be an issue, and you came with solutions for that investor. It's kind of the same as how we had to manage our tenants and stuff this spring. Like, you had to go to them and be proactive and not just sit back and hide under a rock. You had to really go out there and make these solutions happen for you. So I think, and I mean, I think people also are afraid of, you mentioned about the amendment, they're afraid of the paperwork part of it. And how do I handle it? Especially if you're like, I've never even written up a contract. I don't know anything about that. And really, you want to get the right people to do those jobs for you. But I would imagine that would be your best advice around that as well for the contracts, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Make sure you have the right contract. If you're not familiar with it, get the lawyer. Have your lawyer go through your contract, your paperwork beforehand.
Yeah.
There's many different ways to write it up. Find out what you are comfortable with and what you want to offer to your person that is investing with you, right, or who you're investing your money with. Absolutely.
Exactly. And what length of term is kind of acceptable for this space, or is it really all over the place? Like, could it be a few months to a couple of years, or anywhere in between?
Anything you want. I've had anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 years so far. Wow. And everything in between, from a few months to a year and a half. It all depends on what the money is for. So I've done some where it was a bridge loan between financing from on a renovation. They were waiting for their main money, but they had to pay back their investor. Right. So we just did a bridge loan for that 2-week period. I've done the mortgages where I was actually the mortgage for someone. We paid cash for that place. Mm-hmm. And they paid us the mortgage until they qualified to get their own mortgage, which I actually had to encourage them to do because it was cheaper than paying the interest rate we were charging.
Right. Yeah. So you were helping them. Yeah. Yeah. You were giving them good advice. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was actually a nice feel that they were like, "Oh no, no, I'd rather just keep paying you," and it's like, "No, this isn't in your best interest at
Wow,
all."
that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, then that comes down to integrity and character, right?
Mhm.
Are you really thinking of what's best for the people you are serving,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
I could have kept with her money, and that wouldn't have been the best option for her. As a matter of fact, when she got the mortgage, she was able to pay off her car loan, a personal loan, and
Wow.
it was less than me. So she's thrilled, right? So,
Yeah.
and she actually has some RSPs that she's willing to invest now too. So,
It builds that relationship, right? Um, how invested are you when you're looking at a deal on the project? Like if you're lending the money out and they're going to do a renovation or a project, how much detail are you looking at what they're going to be doing with the money?
right. So I like to see what is the project? What are you doing? I want to know what your comps are for the ARV, the after
Yeah,
repair value. I want to know where we are in the market cycle. I want to know where your market cycle is.
yeah,
Um, that's the high level. I also want to know what your backup plans are. Like if it doesn't sell, what are you doing next?
exactly.
Then it comes down to is what's your experience? I
Mhm.
want to know what type of work you're doing because I understand what the renovations are and somewhat what they cost. I'm not as experienced as others, but I'm more experienced than some. So um,
Absolutely.
yeah, so I definitely want to know. I also want to know what the quality of the renovation is because if you're over renovating, and this is a big mistake when people go into renovate, they're putting in things that are not necessary,
Yes.
right? So
Common, very common mistake. Yeah.
right. So if you're over renovating, your costs are way higher. What is your spread?
Yeah.
Where's your risk level? Right? What's your backup plan? So I want to know all that. And then it also comes down to, which is the huge factor, is your character.
Yeah.
And this industry is really small. Somebody knows somebody. And we have a list of the bad ones that we just don't align with, or you hear other people and then those that if everything went sideways, they would do everything to pay you back. And it might take them longer, but that they would pay you back.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So a lot of it's to me, so much of it's about your integrity and your character.
Yeah. Integrity and trust your gut on that. I mean, especially if
Mhm.
you are uncertain, trust your gut. It will lead you in the right direction for sure.
Big time.
it,
Yeah.
it's a very small industry in Canada when you think about it. How, and especially since 2020, how I feel like we're all even more connected than we've ever been. So you absolutely want to take that approach. You want to look at the win-win no matter which side of this coin you're on, because it will lead to other things and other opportunities, and you want the relationship to be a success. So I think that's
Absolutely. And I will check their references. I will talk to people and say, do you know this person? What do you know about them? And if you've had a problem go wrong, tell me. It's all about that communication, right?
absolutely.
Tell me what happened. What have you learned? What have you fixed in your processes?
Mhm. Yeah, that's really good advice too. Um, So looking into this coming year and on the tail end of 2020 into this year, are you taking on more projects? Do you think this is a good time to be looking at these types of deals? Or what's your kind of plans for this type of real estate into 2021?
Yeah, actually, I've just done quite a lot actually
Yeah.
in the last 2 weeks. So besides the 3 Airbnbs, I also um, raised the funds to cover all those costs, those initial costs. So that's fantastic. I had the money to do it myself, but
Mhm.
again, my the way I run my real estate is it's no fun going to the top by yourself. Let's have fun. So even though I had the funds,
Yeah.
I have taken on an investor who has put up the funds for these 3 Airbnbs. It's their first time investing, so it's really exciting because I'm
Wow.
helping them learn how to make money. So their money that's sitting there isn't doing much in the bank,
Right.
and so now we're putting it to work, and I'm looking forward to helping them learn a little bit more about the private money. We also have a big development inside Cranbrook, so
Mhm.
weird. Yeah, that's
Anyone?
I know, right? So I've
Yeah.
had to raise a lot of money for that. Personal best there was within 3 hours, I raised almost $500,000.
Wow.
So that one I'm actually really proud of.
Yeah.
And that to me is because we had done deals before. And that to me was a real reflection of my character, my integrity, my reputation, that people were like, oh, you got that deal done. Here's the money.
Yeah.
Um, and that's what you want. You don't want to be struggling to find money. You want people to say, oh, I want in on that deal.
Exactly.
So I never even advertised. I just went back to people who we've done deals with before and they were great. I do have some new investors looking to invest, and the people who invest with me now are more than willing to talk to anybody. And I always say, if you want to talk to people who've invested with me, please check me out.
Yes.
Right? Check me out. They will. And I said, and what's actually really exciting is that a couple of them were people I didn't even meet the loan because of COVID. We had to extend. So that's what you want. You want to see is when something didn't go right, how was it handled? So yeah, you don't always want those perfect cases. I mean, everything's great when it's perfect, but how do they handle it when things don't go so well?
Exactly. I mean, and those are some large projects. I'm very excited to follow along with your Cranbrook project. I think that's going to be a huge success. Who do you think private lending is not good for? Like, I really liked your comment when you said, I don't want to get to the top by myself, or I want to bring people with me. And I think when we're first getting into investing in real estate in particular, it really feels like you're going to do this by yourself. You don't need anyone. I'm going to get to the top by myself. And you cannot get to the top by yourself. First of all, everyone runs out of money, or everyone runs out of energy, or passion, or whatever it is. Like, this is something that takes a lot of grit to get to a certain level at. So I think that was incredible advice. You cannot get there alone, even if you can. Should you? Is that really the best avenue? Probably not, right? There's going to be people bringing other things to the table that you may be lacking, and it's a game of relationships. Like, it is so important to be building those relationships. I thought that was really good advice. But is there someone who, like, if they're big warriors, or they're big people who like to be really hands-on, do you think there's too much uncertainty for maybe that type of personality type to get into something like private lending, or do you think there's a way to make that work still?
I think, it's a great question, Natasha, in that, private money lending is not for everyone, and neither should you take on everyone just because they offer you their money.
Yes.
And I've said no to people. I have said no because, personality-wise, we're going to clash. And like you said, I had somebody who said to me, okay, but I've done some renovations, so I'm going to have to manage I want to be there for all of the trades. I want to look at the car. And I'm like, whoa, no, no, because you're going to prevent me from doing my job, which is to make you the money. And in order to make you the money, I got to go over here and do my job and manage the trades.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's okay to say, no, thank you. It might be best if you go do your own deal.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
But if you don't want to, and be very clear. Now, some people are like, yeah, I don't mind if they buddy up and I'll coach and train them. Mm-hmm. That's okay. You just need to know what you are offering and what you're willing to do for that. And for me, with a lot of our deals, I'm so busy and moving fast. I'm just looking for the money partner. I'm looking for the person who wants that passive return, who says, let me give you the money. I'm going to go to live my life.
Yes.
I want to know that it's just going to come back. I want that security, but I don't want to be involved.
Yeah. They don't want to do the work.
Correct. And that's a huge passion. So many people have money sitting out there that they don't realize it can be working for them. So they're not working as much. So let me help you make that money, because in return, then it helps me. And I'm only going to get ahead as if I help somebody else.
For sure.
Right. So people who, you just need to know what you want in that money when you're asking for that money, or if you're investing with someone, what do you want as well? Because if somebody says, hey, I need a JV partner, which is joint venture partner, but I need you not only just put up the money, but I'm going to need you to handle the bookkeeping, the accounting. Like you also have to be clear up front with your expectations as the receiver too.
Absolutely.
If you're a real worrywart, I wouldn't be putting up a lot of money then. Maybe start with something smaller.
Yeah.
Test those waters. The other thing is, don't waste people's time. Don't sit there and say you want to invest, know everything about the project, and then out of fear, say no.
Right. Yeah.
Because you will not get other deals either, because people don't have time to waste. Like, I have no problem telling you all about the deal. I have no problem saying, here's the risk factor and here's how we're mitigating it.
Yeah.
But if you're not going to check the references and you're not going to follow through, then I'm not going to bring you my next deal, because I need to work with people who can say yes or no for valid reasons.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, I don't want to sound mean for people who are fearful, but if you're really that fearful, don't be looking to invest with somebody yet. Learn more about real estate, learn about how to mitigate your risk, do all that learning. There's a lot of great books out there first. Get comfortable with that first.
Yeah, there is infinite things to learn out there. There's infinite resources and things to listen to and read. And fear is a big hurdle to get over in real estate. So that's really good advice. You don't want to become the person who's constantly turning down every deal that's brought to you, but sitting here saying, I really want to do deals, or I really want to invest, because that will only take you so far. So that is, really good advice. Talking about joint venture partners, it is very similar where just because someone really wants to joint venture with you and has the money to give to you, the relationship has to be right. It has to feel right. Absolutely. I'm a big believer in that. Like for a joint venture deal, I want to feel like you are someone who I would feel very good talking and giving you bad news and giving you the hard truths or the great ones, right? It has to be, that relationship has to be there. And then you also can't be micromanaged to do your job, At the same time, is it reasonable to accept or to expect a check-in? Let's say it's a 1-year deal. Do you give a check-in every few months to let your partner know how the deal is going, or do you expect that on the other end?
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because I do have some money out with someone, and so I understand both as loaning money out and as receiving, which is good. You should see both sides, right?
Absolutely.
And I'm an over communicator. So, if we're making monthly payments instead of a balloon payment, like I'm very clear on what the terms are. But if I'm making monthly payments, I'm not going to wait to that date, unless something comes up. But I'm always trying to pay a couple days early. Right. Now, what if the bank system goes down or you're over your limit? Now you don't want to be late paying at all. No. You never want your partner to ever worry, am I getting my money today?
Yeah.
Thing is, with this investment that I have out, of the 6 months I've been involved with them, twice I've had payment. So we're getting feedback there.
Right, that was my phone. It just all of a sudden picked up our live stream.
Funny. So for me, I've had to twice ask somebody, "Hey, are you going to make this month's payment?"
Yeah.
And I've checked them out. I believe that they're quality people. I think the problem is that they don't have the systems in place, and now they're looking for more money. And now I'm hesitant. Now I'm like, oh, you have some really great deals, but you can't manage this one deal we have.
Right.
So at what point does somebody who's a good person get too far ahead, and that's when you lose money and risks happen?
Yeah.
Right.
And
so
get made.
if you're making payments, you make those payments early. You don't allow your people to feel worried about it, and communicate ahead of time what's going on, right? Have a system in place. You make sure that you know exactly when payments need to be made, when due dates are. I am not normally a real regulated person, but when it comes to other people's money, I am like on the ball. Like I have everything in my calendars. I have alerts like I'm 2 months ahead, a month ahead, right. Just so I know it. Because if your loan is coming due in June, in April, I want that alert, because now I need to come to you and go, are we still good? Is the project still going to end on time? If not, do I need to look for money? Are we looking for extension? Or I'm just saying, hey, everything's all on time. So communication is great. I think it depends on the project. Like if we're doing a development and I've got people with our development, we have the Facebook page group. They see the notices. They saw that the website got released. So they're seeing that and being part of that journey, because really people put in the money and they're so excited to be part of it. They feel like they're in this deal with you.
Yeah.
Right?
You're
not taking money out. Mm-hmm. You are part of this deal. And so help them have that excitement too. Mm-hmm. Because you might want to have them invest with you again. So have them part of that. Now, other deals where I have money out just for a mortgage or, part of their financing, but let me know what's going on if there's a problem. We're in communication. So again, you're not a good communicator, learn how to communicate. And it doesn't mean being outgoing. Maybe it's a report, like you said, every 3 months, here's where everything's at. Or, check in. Hey, how are you doing? Are you comfortable with how everything's going? Do you need more from me? What do you need? Right? Let them tell you. Sorry, that's long-winded. I get very passionate.
No, that's so important, because like you said, this will lead to something else. This will lead to another project, and building that trust, over communicating, being early, not just on time, but early, setting those reminders in your phone, even for your, tenant renewals, like being early and over communicating is going to set you up for so much success. rather than waiting, like I've got, 3 days and this tenant's lease is up and I forgot, and so did they, and now what? It's really important to over deliver on the trust building and the communication. So I think that is excellent advice. I was just checking the Facebook to see if there was any questions. The one question someone asked is, are you lending secured or unsecured? I think you said you were, you had done both, right? So
all depends on the deal, but everything is documented. So, I mean, to answer that question, like everything has documentation. So I do a lot of promissory notes. So it's considered secure,
yeah,
but it's also unsecured depending if you are registering it on title. Depends on the deal. Like the 2-week bridge loan, you're not even going to get it back in time. You're not going to register that as a caveat on title, right? And you could affect their ability to get that renewal, because if they see caveats that they owe you money.
That's right. The bank doesn't like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So know the deal, because you don't want to hoop the person so that they can't pay you back either.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah. So there's different ways to secure. I mean, I've done mortgages, and you can do mortgage, which puts you into a titled position, or you can register a caveat on title. Maybe you're not even registering it on that property. Maybe you're registering on somebody else's property. So I've loaned out money, and my caveats are actually on other properties that have more equity to secure my position. But I also have promissory loans and notes out that we haven't done any security on, except I've carried the note. I know the deal. I know the people. So it really is deal dependent. However, there's always work. There's always paperwork.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. That is really good advice. Let me see if there was any other things. I think we covered, we covered a lot of pieces here. How can people get in touch with you? We will put it in the description and stuff of the video, but real quick, if someone's on here, do you want to just shoot your name of your contact information there as well?
Sure. Yeah. They can reach me at Shelley at frontdoorinvestments.ca. So Shelley's EY, SHELLEY at frontdoorinvestments.ca. That's the best way, or search me out on Facebook, Shelley Visser, which will be linked, I'm sure, to this. So yeah, really pretty easy to find. So
for something fun, in the investment groups, I hear people say you've been Vissered, you've been caught in a Visser. Tell people a little bit what that means. I mean, what does that mean if someone hears that?
So you've been Vissered. So Visser is my last name. Vissered is now a verb. It's an action word. Usually it means because, well, I like to say it's two-sided. You either have a lot of fun and we just do the craziest things, or something really crazy and weird that never ever happens has happened. And usually, chaos ensues, or something happens to other people or to me. We call it just getting viscered. And I seem to have this happen, like that line is, it's not necessarily the black cloud dust, but it's just weird stuff. But it can also just be a lot of fun things and crazy, weird things that just don't happen to other people. So it's it's a fun terminology, getting viscered.
Every time we drive up to Cold Lake, my parents had a cabin there. That's where that Visser Street or Visser Avenue is. I'm not sure. Have you seen that between Edmonton? Like when you turn east of Edmonton, have you seen this street sign?
No, but there's one in Okotoks, and I went down to it. Visser Way and Visser Place in Okotoks. I took a picture.
Next time I go up there, I'm going to stop and take a picture. I was like, I wonder if she knows about this one, because I think of you obviously every time you drive by and chuckle about being Vissered. But
that's fun.
Shelley is a very well-known personality in the whole community. We love and adore you very much. If you could give maybe one big lesson, or kind of just one story or something that stands out to you in your investing career that has maybe taught you something about people or yourself, or just some little tidbit that you'd like to kind of maybe leave us with, that's maybe a little personal to you, but was a learning lesson or something along the way. Is there anything that kind of stands out to you in that regard?
Being in the business a long time, I have probably lots of different stories, but I think the biggest lesson I would rather share, more personal, in that there are so many great organizations out there that teach you stuff, and they teach so many ways, and sometimes they teach one way, and we get caught up in that. Don't be so narrow-minded that that's the only way. Be open, because I got caught up in, and I own that 100%, that, oh, I could have done some better things if I had, not just so blindly followed one way of advice. There's so many great ways of advice, but then also do your research on it. So, for instance, just investing in my own backyard. I stayed in my backyard for far too long when I should have been looking outside somewhere else, but realizing too that there would have been work to set up the teams, because I wasn't going to necessarily travel or move to that other place.
Exactly.
And not allowing that fear, or that, I hate to use the word ignorance, but the non-knowledge,
right,
to hold me back from doing what was best for me.
Yeah. Wow. So, that is incredible advice. Fear, and when you're in a group of people that now you know, like, and trust, like, it feels very scary and very uncomfortable to go outside and kind of start over again with a new team or a new group of people. But there is so much out there, and there's so many ways to get involved with this in this space. So I think that is excellent advice from a veteran like yourself. So
and those organizations don't mean anything. Sorry, like, they're
no,
going to be bad. They're actually trying to teach a protective way to to help you. So for sure, absolutely. But don't hold yourself in that one box. Don't be afraid to open up the box and take a look around at what else is out there.
Yeah. There is a lot of different groups and people that have different specialties and different styles of doing things, and there's something to learn everywhere. And then you take what resonates with you and what doesn't, and what fits your values and your goals, and take what works, and explore other things. So I think that is excellent advice. And again, red flag is, make sure you always do your research, always do your due diligence, ask questions, ask around about people, ask for references. Don't be afraid to ask those hard questions. And if people won't give you the answers on them, then there's your answer. Basically.
Yeah.
If they won't give you a reference or a testimonial, then that's all you need to know. So
people go, ooh.
Yeah. I don't know about that one. Exactly. That's a pretty clear message. So I think that's pretty well everything we wanted to cover for today. Thank you so much for being here. This was so much fun. And everyone, go check out Shelley. Go follow her on all her platforms. I will tag all her information below, and include her email address as well in the description if you want to reach out to Shelley. But I thank you so much for being here, and happy Friday as well. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. And thank you for letting me be on here. I so appreciate it.
Yeah.
I love that we're twinsies today without even knowing. That's just so fun. You're awesome. For your first time, you were a great host. I felt so comfortable.
Good. Good. It's a lot of fun to do something different. And I mean, even just this is a good example of how hard it is to move the needle on things, right? When we get bogged down and aren't surrounded by maybe the right people who can help. And this year, that's one of the things I'm working on, is freeing up. I don't need to do everything, freeing up activities that don't need to be done by me, so I can do stuff like this. And it's so nice and refreshing to have a kind of change of pace. So I appreciate you so much for being here. And everyone, go check out Shelley. She's amazing. And have a good rest of your day, Shelley.
Thanks so much, Natasha. You too. Take care.
Take care. Bye.